They were rampaging along, won their first 2 games. They've lost their last 2, but they could have probably won both of them.
Fantastic looking facility there in the deep south.
I'm sure they're going to come out firing tonight.
From memory, he was leading last week. Are you going to be leading this week, or?
From bottom with 6 points and second from bottom with 5. Yes and no. Yes and no. It paid off for them. They got a 2, double the 4 and won 6 points. Depends what the teams above you do, doesn't it?
Unbiased, Miles Davis.
Welcome to another edition of Unbiased, where we go behind the people and the stories of the magnificent game of lawn bowls in New Zealand. Today, I'm joined by Dale Rayner, who's going to, well, hopefully tell us everything that we need to know about her life and her time in bowls. Dale, thank you so much for joining me. As we do with everyone, Dale, we have to start at the beginning. Where did you first make your appearance in the world?
I made my appearance in Hamilton and the mighty Waikato. You lived there for a few years and then moved to Wellington.
So why did you move to Wellington? Were your parents sort of transferred? Was it work?
Yeah, my dad was in the bank, so we moved around a little bit when I was younger. So, yeah, I was born in Hamilton, then we moved to Huntly, then down to Wellington, then up to Havelock North, then back to Wellington.
I noticed you missed Huntly out the first time you mentioned it. You're not ashamed of that, are you?
I don't remember much of my time in Huntly. I was only like 4 years old, and we were only there for 18 months, I think.
So, Wellington, where would you consider yourself brought up, though? Where did you spend most of your time?
Definitely Wellington.
I went the other way around. I spent years in Wellington and then went to Hamilton for a while. So we sort of crossed paths in the opposite direction.
Yeah, we did.
Now, when you were in Wellington, where did you go to primary school?
I went to St. Francis Xavier, which is in Tawa.
And what was it like? Can you remember much about it?
Yeah, I can remember quite a bit. I remember my first teacher, when I was 5, and Mrs. Boyle. Yeah, it was a good time, primary school. No cares.
Yeah, it usually is, unless you're the one getting bullied, I suppose. And where did you go? I'm going to take a stab in the dark now. After you left there, did you go to Tawa College or did you move to Hawke's Bay by then?
We moved to Hawke's Bay, so I went to intermediate at Havelock North and then went to Havelock North High School and then moved back down to Wellington and I had to go to Tawa College.
Well, you certainly moved around. I suppose that's what they call a rounded education, Dale.
Yeah.
What were you like at school and what were your memories, your favourite memories of school?
What was I like at school? Oh, gosh. I was a bit of a nerd, probably. Did quite well at school. Tried a bit of sport, netball, cricket, bit of tennis. Tried a few things, but I found indoor bowls was my sport.
Well, we'll get on to that, but it's indoor bowl. When did you why indoor bowls? How on earth did you get involved in that?
I guess like most bowlers, my family played, my dad played, so he used to take us along to indoor bowls in Havelock North, or we used to go up to Napier and play, and yeah, it was great fun, loved it. How
good were you when you first started?
I was only like 12 or 13 and there was another young girl and we used to play together and we used to beat the people who've been around a while and they didn't really like that. So, yeah, it's not too bad, really.
Oh, so now were you sort of natural at sports? How did you go in netball and cricket?
I was definitely not natural. I'm just uncoordinated, really, I think. I tried hockey as well. That was another one. No, it wasn't great. Those sports that needed like a stick, not my thing.
No, fair enough. No, you mentioned you were a nerd.
Yeah, did pretty well. Got good marks at School C and UE, and I did go to university.
All right, well, now we need to dig into that one there. So you leave school, you've done well in your exams, and you go to university. Where do you go?
Well, it wasn't quite like that, really, I guess. I left school and I wanted to go on holiday. Mum and Dad are like, well, how are you going to pay for your holiday? I'm like, I'll get a job. So I got a job and then I did...
No, where? Come on, you can't get away with that. So what job were you doing?
Well, I got offered 2 jobs. I got offered a mature person returning to the workforce as a filing clerk in a law firm, and I store manager for Dick Smith's. were the two
Which one did you
choices.
take?
One of the best decisions I've made, and it was to go with a mature person returning to the workforce.
Right, that would have been the last thing that I would have picked. I can't think of anything filing being anything more boring, having done it in my lifetime
Yeah.
in various times.
Yeah.
So
I didn't actually
you
get
didn't
that
get
job
it.
though. No, I got another job there, which was data entry, which probably wasn't much better. But I told them I was only going to be there a year and then I was going to join the police force. But I'm still there actually.
Oh, right. Not the same place.
Yeah, the same place.
Whoa, how long is that now?
They'll be telling about 32 years.
Theory, but well, that's stickability. See, that is very nerdy. So I think you're
Yeah.
fair enough calling you a nerd. So did you manage to go on the holiday that you'd actually gone to work for?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah.
And where did you go?
Went right out to like Cape Reinga. We were away for 2 or 3 weeks with friends. It was good. It was great.
So you went all that work, you went data entering just for a couple of weeks away. I thought you were going to go overseas for years or something.
Oh, yeah, no, well, you would have thought so, right? Yeah, no, it was just a holiday. I didn't really know what I wanted to do then, I guess. So it was probably a good thing for me.
So you've done this, you've done your holiday. When do you decide that you're going to go to university?
I think I'd been in my job about a year or so and found out that if you wanted to be a partner in the law firm, you had to have a law degree. So I thought, right, that's me. I'm going to be a partner in the law firm. And yeah, I'll have to go to university. So I went to Victoria, did part-time law degree.
Now, part-time, because the law degrees take a fair amount of time, don't they? How long were you doing it part-time?
10 years.
You really are. You dig it in, don't you? There's no sort of half measures. Just the thought of 10 years of doing law part-time has given me a brain explosion. So how did you, did you specialise in any particular type of law?
No, I didn't. I just sort of did courses that fitted around my work and life. So I did various things. But I managed to get through there. I did my probs and got admitted to the bar, and then I have never used it.
You've never actually used it, so okay. Well, we'll step back. So you're working away at this firm that you're still at now. You're working part time. When do you really sort of think, oh well, I'm working here. I'm working part time studying. Where did you find time for bowls, and when did you start really getting interested in it?
Wow, that's a good question. I've played indoor bowls since I was like 13. And then I think in my early 20s, I had a bit of a crack at outdoor bowls because you could go to the Com Games, right, if you played outdoor bowls. Then I realised after about 3 years of that, probably wasn't really my thing at that time. I was in my early 20s. I just wanted to, go down Courtney Place on Friday night. Didn't really go well with getting up early for bowls on Saturday morning. So yeah, I gave it away for 10 years and then really got back into it. It would be about 2005.
So that's you've had a fair bit of a break. What club did you end up joining?
I think I played at 3 different clubs in my first 3 years. The first one, oh gosh, it was called Porora Hospital, and that's got really bad connotations with it. So, we had to wear these funny little hats too, which had your club name on the hat. And I was like, oh gosh, I had to wear this one which had Porora Hospital. Lovely little club, but, that was a mental.
Did they? Because one of my sons was at Kenepuru. One of my sons was actually meant to be born there, and then we ended up transferring to Wellington Hospital. But did they actually? Where was the green? Where did you play?
Oh, it was on the hospital grounds. It was a real cute little club. It's no longer there, obviously, but it's sort of hidden away up by Kenepuru Hospital, in between there and Viard College, I think.
Oh, there we go. That's so you learn something every day, and I suppose that's the whole thing of this. So you've been right, Porora, then where? Come on, move us through your clubs.
Then I went to Tawa, and then I ended up at Victoria.
Now, why the moves?
I can't remember. It was a long time ago. I'm not quite sure. I think it was just maybe to get into better teams, bigger clubs, more competition. That's probably what it was.
When did you start, feeling to yourself that I could really do something in this game?
Well, when I came back to the game, it sort of had some quite good results, like straight away with won Wellington junior singles and got to like the final of a mixed pairs in Wellington, and there was quite a few younger or girls the same age as me. We were getting into teams together and got into the rep team, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is going quite well. Yeah, just kept going with that, and then opportunities started arising, which was pretty cool.
Right, come on, tell us about some of those. When did you get your first sort of call up that gave you an excitement?
Well, I'd had quite a good nationals where I'd got runner-up in the pairs in Auckland with a girl called Fiona. The same team with her, I got semi-final of the fours, and so that was not bad nationals. She was only a second-year bowler, and we had to play Mary Campbell and Sharon Sims in the final, so we were up against it, but we gave them a good run for their money, and I remember a bit of sledging from Sharon, so I must remind her about that one day. And then shortly after that, I got this phone call from Dave, and he's like, are you sitting down? And I'm like, okay, yeah. Goes, are you interested in going to the Commonwealth Games sort of thing? And I'm like, oh my God, yes. Most definitely. Such an opportunity. That was my dream, and I couldn't believe that it had come my way already. So I was pretty lucky.
We're talking 2010, is that around?
Yeah, 2010 is I went to Delhi.
Yeah, so did you get international experience before going to the Commonwealth Games? Were there any other tournaments or competitions you played in before you went there?
Yeah, Asia Pacific was where I got capped.
Right, so, and where was that?
That was in Malaysia, in KL.
Oh, that's quite an exotic trip for you.
It was like, it was amazing, absolutely.
And what did you play up there? Pairs, singles, triples?
Triples.
Right, so you've gone to the triples. I have to ask you this. I honestly don't know. How did you go?
Oh, actually, it might have been fours. Oh, God, this is terrible.
It doesn't matter. What's one player between friends?
How did we go? Oh, we were really close. We actually got pipped by India in the quarters with an amazing bowl from their scalp, so we just missed out on medaling there.
What are your memories of that? I mean, you're representing your country. You're getting a good trip overseas. What are your memories of it?
Just the environment, just being amongst all these top bowlers and having this opportunity to play against all these different countries and in an environment that's so far from New Zealand. It's not funny. Just so many things, insects and stuff like that. It's just, I still remember them. These humongous moths, you've never seen anything like it, and big flying cricket things that are like, flying cockroaches. Quite gross, but those sorts of things stick in my mind, as well as the bathrooms we had to use if the others were busy.
Oh yeah, they're a nightmare. My children are still undergoing therapy from when I took them up there from seeing those toilets. Who did you room with?
I think that trip would have been Genevieve Belden.
And was she a good roommate?
Oh yeah, she was a top roommate. Yeah.
Would she say the same of you?
Oh, I'm sure she would. Yes, most definitely.
Fair enough. So you come back from Malaysia. Run us through sort of your memories of Delhi. I mean, the Commonwealth Games is a huge one, and you said that you'd dreamt about it anyway. What was the experience like?
It's hard to describe that. The whole that environment. Oh my gosh, we arrive at the airport and there's armed guards absolutely everywhere. You hop on the bus and you've got a police escort the front and from at the behind, and you've got armed guards again on the bus with you. Go to the village and it's it's checked for bombs and regularly, and it's amazing going into the village. And I remember going into one of the food courts and thinking, oh my gosh, that lady's really familiar. I wonder what club she plays for, what country she plays for. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm here with all these other athletes. I think it was an Australian netball coach, the lady that I'd seen.
Norma Plummer?
Familiar. Yeah, it was Norma Plummer. Yeah, that's the one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've just got to remember there's lots of other sports here. And it was amazing seeing all these superstars, and getting welcomed into the village was pretty special.
Was there a lot of mingling with all the other New Zealand athletes?
Sometimes at meal times you'd get to sit like with the netball girls or other athletes, but not too much really. We all had our own timetables and went to different places at different times, so generally not too much mingling.
Who was in the team with you?
Okay, so my team was Genevieve Bowden as lead, I was the two, and Karen Coombe was skipping. Then we had Val Smith playing the singles and Manu Tamutu and Jan Khan playing the pairs.
That's a reasonably strong squad there. Did you feel, when you first step out there, this is a step up probably from the Asia Pacifics in terms of the fact, especially that you've been thinking about it as well. When you stepped out first time onto the rink, onto the green, how did you feel? Was there extra pressure?
Oh, yeah, it was quite a lot of pressure on all of us, I think, to do well and achieve. But it was good. My mum and dad came over to India, so that was pretty special. And they were always there, so it was good to see familiar faces and have their support. It was pretty memorable.
Yeah, right. Okay, so run it through. How did you go through in sort of section play?
Again, we did pretty well. I think we only ended up losing 2 games out of like 7, and that wasn't enough to get through into the medal rounds. It was a pretty tough section we were in. Australia just pipped us. I think we had a draw with them. If we'd won our second set, won one more set, we would have got through because it was set play at that games.
What's the reaction? I mean, if you only lose 2 out of 7, that's pretty decent, especially in a top tournament like that. The Commonwealth Games is like the Olympics when it comes to bowls. Anyway, there's not many sides that'll be countries that are missing out that would normally be sort of there or thereabouts. What was the reaction afterwards? Was there? In your debrief, was there sort of criticism of you guys? Was it disappointment from selectors, or was it great effort, unlucky?
I think probably a bit of both. Bit of disappointment, obviously, that we hadn't quite got over the line, but obviously we had put in a bit of a stellar performance, but just not quite good enough. Yeah, so it was a bit of a mixed reaction. I mean, obviously disappointing for us because we're so close.
Did it involve, when you came back, did the axe fall on your international selection?
Yeah. Yeah, it did actually. Never to be seen again until recently.
Oh, blimey. Well, that's it. We'll talk about that one in a minute. Let's get back onto on the national scene. I think off the top of my head, I seem to remember you winning, was it pairs in 2017? Talk about your efforts. You mentioned before you made a final and a semi earlier on. What have you done since as far as nationals go?
A lot of semis, quarters, reached another final in Auckland in the 4s. I was playing 3 that year with, again, little Ashley Jeffcoat. She was only 15 at the time, Rebecca Jelly and Tanya Wheeler, and we lost on an extra end in the final. So that was pretty sad. And then won the pairs with Ashley. Following year, Ashley and I got runner-up in the pairs. And recently, I played pairs with Selena Smith in Auckland, and we reached the final and lost by 1 to Val Smith.
There's no disgrace in losing by any margin to Val Smith. So you mentioned there that then comes the recall on the international stage. How did that come about?
Oh, well, I'm part of the high performance squad. That's as close as I am at the moment. I'm in the 14 that they've chosen for that squad. They'll then cut down to 10, I think it goes, and then down to 5 for the Com Games in Birmingham.
How keen are you on getting back to another Commonwealth Games?
I would really like another chance to get to another Commonwealth Games. So much more experience now at that sort of level, and yeah, I'm champing at the bit to get another chance.
How tough has it been? There's quite a few players that I've spoken to that, with the last couple of years of the hiatus because of COVID, that has stopped people getting their international opportunities. How tough has it been for you and other people in that high performance group?
Well, I'm sort of fortunate because I haven't been affected by that because I've only just come back into it. But I can just imagine for some of those players where it was going to be their debut, or and they got so close and then COVID struck, that it would be so disappointing. And to keep, really wanting it and keep, striving and performing to get that opportunity must be pretty tough.
You mentioned earlier on, Dale, that you first got your first taste at sort of about 12 or 13 playing the indoor game. I understand you've represented New Zealand as well.
Yeah, I have 5, 6 times, I think now. First time was in 2001. They only play a test match against Australia, and it's only every 2 years. So yeah, I've played for them 6 times. The most recent was 2018.
And how did it go?
Oh, really good. Got quite a good record against the Aussies in indoor. Different mat. It's quite a different game. Different length of mat, different fabric. So some people play standing up. Normally you play kneeling down playing indoor bowls, so it's quite different. But New Zealand have got a really good record against Australia.
How do you? I mean, my knees wouldn't cope with sort of kneeling down there. Have you got little mats or something that you kneel on?
Oh, people call it my blankie. I used to play with this little duster thing. I think that was just to stop my jeans getting dirty from the, like the dust and dirt on the ground.
Oh, fantastic. So it's a little bit like Linus from Peanuts, like a little security blanket.
Yeah. I even use it in outdoor as well. I can't not play without a cloth in my hand.
I don't think you're the only bowler in the world that's got that same affliction. In fact, most people when I watch have got a cloth somewhere around their person.
Yes, that's true.
So now, career-wise, you've been in the same place for 32 years. Have you reached the status that drove you to do 10 years of part-time study?
No, because I ended up becoming a bit of a manager in several teams, and then quite enjoyed that, looking after people and making them achieve, their goals and things, helping them achieve. Then our IT guy sort of left quite suddenly, and I got asked if I wanted to be like the IT manager, and I'm like, I don't know anything about IT. What's going on here? And anyway, I did that for about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, and yeah, just have various managerial roles in the firm.
Well, that's all right. You're still there. You're moving up the ladder. You're working in different areas. That's all good.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about now, Dale, is we ask just some general questions, just fun ones at the end, so people can just find out a little bit more about you. And it's all right. There's nothing invasive.
Okay.
Firstly, have you got a pet?
No, I have no pets. I used to have a pet. Cat. I had a cat called James, and I've had a cat called Portia, and a budgie Gonzo.
Now, I'm assuming that they've gone to the little sort of cat and budgie playground in the sky.
Yes, I have. I had another budgie as well called Bollocks.
Called Bollocks?
Yeah.
You didn't teach him to say that, did you?
No. Why
that name?
I was married to a guy from the northeast of England, and that was just where it came from.
You should have spoken to me, though. When you say you was, I'm assuming that it's no longer the case. And if you'd have asked me, I'd have told you that the northeast is not where you go to get a husband.
Yeah, I should have asked for advice.
Yeah, very, very much so. Right. If you sort of movie, is there a favourite movie of yours?
Any sort of, I guess, cheesy sort of comedy, anything with like Ben Stiller or Adam Sandler, quite like those.
So, yeah, okay, fair enough. Hey, each to their own. Each to their own. Yeah. That's not a problem. What about music? What sort of music do you like? What sort of band? If you could go and see a gig of anyone, alive or dead, who would it be?
I'd go and see Pink again, and Coldplay.
Pink's pretty cool, I've got to say. She's Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing her actually because I haven't seen her live. Have you been and seen her yet?
Yeah, I've seen her in Melbourne and in Auckland.
And which was a better gig?
Oh, probably Melbourne. She was amazing. Bigger venue, acrobatics, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty talented performer. What team, like sports team, is there a sports team that you love more than any other?
Oh, can't go past All Blacks. I know that's probably what everyone says, but I mean they're pretty good to watch.
Oh no, they are. They are. Even as an Englishman, I've got to admit that they're, for me, the best side in the world and have been for probably over 100 odd years, barring the odd month here or there. What about sports person? Is there anyone that you really admire, Dale, as far as a sports person goes?
Well, there's quite a few, but I guess my current one is probably Lisa Carrington. Like, she's just phenomenal.
I'm not sure if they do. They do that at the Commonwealth Games? Well, sure, you might be sort of, sharing a dining table with her in Birmingham.
Oh, this is true. I'll have to look out for her.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look up on that. I'm not sure. I know it's an Olympic sport. I'm not sure if they do it at the Commonwealth Games as well. They may well not do it there. Right. There's the final one that we always ask, Dale, is, and we don't wish this on anyone, but were you to end up on death row, what would your final meal be?
To be fair, I might just skip the food and go straight to a nice Central Otago Pinot Noir.
Do you know something? You're the first person to say that, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong. It may mean that you've got issues, but for this sake, it is your last day on Earth, so we'll allow you to have some Pinot Noir. Dale, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it, and fingers crossed. I'm wishing you all the best to get into that final five to go to Birmingham next year.
Thank you, Miles.
They were rampaging along, won their first two games. They've lost their last two, but they could have probably won both of them.
Fantastic looking facility there in the deep south.
I'm sure they're going to come out firing tonight.
From memory, he was leading last week. Are you going to be leading this week, or
from bottom with 6 points and second from bottom with 3?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
It paid off for them. They got a 2, double the 4, and won 6 points.
Depends what the teams above you do, doesn't it?
Unbiased, Miles Davis.